Haikyu OPs are a work of art, and Burnout Syndromes have been killing it recently with Dr. Stone and the new season of Haikyu. The Haikyu opening in particular really caught my attention. The highs and lows that it presents make it stand out from the rest of the intros that came before it. The progression of the 6th Haikyu opening tells a great story. Let's take a look at how the music helps enhance that narrative. In a departure from previous openings, Phoenix starts out with a dark shot of Hinata on the ground, struggling to get up. His struggle is echoed through the music. See how in these first couple of phrases, we only hear vocals and the guitar. The lack of instruments in this section creates a sense of loneliness and vulnerability. As the scene moves on and Hinata starts to get up, we see more instruments add in, as if to lift him up onto the court. The bass slides in to give him support, and the percussion beats loudly as if to turn on the lights and start the title card. This section is literally less than 30 seconds long, and not a ton happens, but it gives a very different feel to all the other OPs that we've had thus far. Openings 1 through 5 have always had a team shot or a glimpse of Hinata with Kageyama within the first 30 seconds. This emphasizes one of Haikyuu's greatest strengths, their diverse cast of interesting characters that lift the series up. In contrast, the fact that we have nothing but Hinata by himself makes me feel for him. What's he struggling with? This lack of energy makes for a unique starting point that we haven't seen before. After a brief bit of light, we go back to a lonely Hinata walking down a dark, snowy road. The music sticks to this dark theme by playing in a minor key, which is just a fancy way of saying that the notes are written to sound sad. This minor key that we get is used to reflect Hinata's struggle in the first part of the season. Why wasn't I chosen? What can I do at this camp to get stronger? How can I catch up to Kageyama? As these dark thoughts take place in his head, Hinata essentially restarts and takes a slow walk up from the bottom to get the fundamentals he didn't have before. In contrast, the next phrase brightens up and goes into C major, which is a happy sound. The visuals lighten up, and we get some flashes of new characters as they enter the spotlight. Let's break this down a little further. In Kageyama's brief shot, we see him enthralled with the opportunity to compete against the top players from all across the nation. Compare this to Hinata, who's taking a slow and steady pace from the bottom. The minor key that Hinata walks through echoes his loneliness, and not being selected for neither the All-Japan camp nor the training camp at Shiratorizawa. By contrasting these two sections side by side, this OP really digs into the separation of Hinata and Kageyama that will ultimately make them both stronger. This next section starts off with a nondescript shot of the inside of the gym at the Shiratorizawa training camp. It's at this point in the 4th season where Hinata experiences his lowest low of being a ballboy. At the end of episode 2, Hinata goes into a storage room and puts himself into the abyss, reflecting on all of the time that he's wasted or things that he hasn't done. As he ponders his actions, he decides to change his perspective rather than continuing to get down on himself. This shift changes the tone from the first 2 episodes of the season into Hinata's training camp arc, no time skip needed. We then get a shot of the garbage dump, where the red chair is noticeably on the ground, rather than atop the heap as in previous seasons. This scene reflects Kageyama's uncertainty of changing from a king to a goody two-shoes, and is now struggling to reclaim his lost title. The fallen throne shows that he returns as a king, but in a way that lifts the team up from the ground, rather than ruling from above. Side by side, these shots show Hinata and Kageyama's respective battles as they try to climb their way to the top in the first part of this season. The music reflects this turbulent growth with some funky chords. Listen to how it sounds out of sync with what we've heard so far, especially when it gets to the garbage dump. Finally, something with some color. We flash to Wakatoshi doing his signature pose as he goes up for a spike. This new section asserts itself in a new mode, stressing a B flat in the bass, totally out of character from the C major that was set up before. When Hinata flashes onto the screen, he makes huge waves both visually and compositionally. First, let's talk about the visuals. The way that his back is turned to Washijo-sensei shows his stubbornness in believing that Shiratorizawa's philosophy is counter to Karasuno's own. As Hinata noticeably rises up in the same visual with Wakatoshi and Washijo-sensei, it mirrors his experience crashing their training camp and taking away the new skills to further his growth. On the musical side of things, Shiro Torizawa has effectively taken over the key in these two bars that they've shown up in. Stupid eagles. As Hinata enters the scene, it changes back to the original C major that we started in. While his other parts have been in minor keys, this is the first time he's been on the screen that he's been portraying that upbeat C major. This takeover by Hinata reflects on his successful time at learning new skills at Shiro Torizawa, despite being forced into a ball boy role. After that, we get a brief glimpse of the darkness where Hinata was walking before, now running in a full sprint toward the court. As we get his iconic wing pose, we fly into the chorus. Finally, we've arrived. Just like at the start of the song, we're back in C major, which is where Hinata really wants to be. Visually, the chorus is a full course of all of the new skills we can expect from Karasuno's full roster as the season progresses. Ultimately, everything that we've seen and heard leads up to this moment, where it all comes together. After the impact of the chorus, the rest of the OP is a little bit of diminishing returns, but let's walk through it. Hinata and Kageyama perform their quick as we transition to a raised fist. We then speed through a long row of schools, eventually landing on Karasuno, taking their rightful place at the summit. We finally get back to the stage where we left Hinata at the very beginning of the opening, standing on the court of nationals where the little giant played before him. Kageyama and him share a quick glance, and the rest of the team adds in as the opening comes to a close. The scene ends on just two notes, F and A flat. These two notes don't leave us on that happy C major chord, which is where Karasuno shines. To me, these notes leave the ending a little bit up in the air. They get to nationals, but their future is still uncertain as they fight through the tournament. Who will they face? How will they fare? We just have to keep watching to find out. The sixth opening of Haikyu uses its music and visuals to tell a great story. It highlights the season's unique starting point and shows how our main duo uses it to grow even further in order to prepare for the national stage. By using Burnout Syndrome's strengths to enhance the highs and lows, this opening really takes its place as one of the best Haikyu openings for me. Hey everyone, I had a blast making this Haikyu video. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.